Black. And we have joining us on this panel, I won't introduce them, I'll let someone else introduce them, is Alexander Weheliyi and also Greg Tate. I am Zenzele Isoke, Associate Professor of Gender, Women, and Sexuality Studies here at the University of Minnesota. And one of the many people who helped make this happen, if you look on the back, we'll do this a little bit later, you'll see an organizing committee of about 9 of us, but there's, who helped to make this happen. But on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank each of you for bringing your love of Prince, his ideas and his aesthetic to the University of Minnesota, for coming and for coming hard and dying into his unique, into this unique critical remembrance and celebration of his life. I am never a diehard Prince fan, but I love Prince for many reasons, which I won't say, but you'll never see me like stalking him online or doing anything like that. I just don't do those things. But I am so convinced that I'm gonna go back and listen to every single album that was mentioned in my mini notes. At this time, I would also like to take a moment to recognize the chief organizer of this convening, the one who called us to come, Arun Saldanha. A diehard Prince fan, a diehard Prince fanatic, intellectual, and organizer. And I just want to recognize the tremendous work and effort of Arun Saldanha, who is the 2016-2018 Imagine Chair of Arts and Design. And he's literally been working on this for 2 years. So, Arun, why don't you come on up here and be seen?
It's very generous of you to introduce me at this final hour. Thanks everyone for sticking around. I know people are exhausted. I definitely am, but I think it's exhausting for everyone. There's parallel sessions, there's snow to negotiate, there's different buildings, there's food to collect, there's camera crews in some of the sessions, and so logistically I think it was quite a feat for everyone, attendance included. I'm going to do some thank you notes at the end when we have the general comments. What I wanted to do is talk a little bit about, well, I had planned to talk a little bit more about blackness and black identity, black difference in a more heavy philosophical vein, because it's something that I've been thinking about more generally, about race and about how to think popular music within a different kind of racial idiom than we're usually drawing on. But unfortunately, it's going to be a bit shorter. I think actually that's good in the end because of that exhaustion that I just mentioned. I will mention this. Talking about blackness is, of course, crucial in this historical moment. There's not just the activism that takes place under that name, but there's also a huge attack, a renewed resurgence or a resurgence of white supremacy happening at all levels of US society, and not just here, but across the world. And so I think it's really essential for us, and that has been happening at this conference, to take note of that different kind of approach to race that Prince and a lot of other black musicians embody. So one little sort of obsession that I have is thinking about the humanness that music embodies, or that music makes it possible for us to feel, and whether to call it humanness at all. And so when we're talking about the beautiful persona of Camille is it, of course there's androgyny, there's something going on that is neither female nor male, but suppose there's something also non-human going on. Suppose that the technological mediation of the human voice that happens in the persona of Camille actually takes us beyond the human into something that is neither human nor technological, and even has a touch of the demonic or the angelic. And so, of course, Prince plays with that trope, with that perhaps suprahuman element that he embodies. Perhaps he did come from heaven after all, after talking about the geography of Prince for 2 days. But what that means politically is that blackness wouldn't be about going to the white mainstream and say, please let us in your family group of humans. We also, after the dehumanization of slavery and subsequent institutional racism in this country and in the whole New World, it is not about the fact that we're all the same beneath the skin, that skin color is just something superficial and actually we're one human family, but it's rethinking what humankind is about in itself. And so what Camille does is not saying, well, we want, this is a voice which has to be recognized by the mainstream as yet another human spirit that would happily coexist with these other spirits which are more dominant, but it's actually rethinking what music is and how humans relate to one another through music and through things and other objects amongst them. So a little bit of dense stuff. I think it's also my tiredness sort of showing, but I'm going to get to the introductions of our two speakers, both of whom have inspired me to think through Prince very much, and both of them also having, in more particular terms, Greg Tate has often written about Afrofuturism, which I think is the main, when it comes to black cultural criticism, which inspires us to think about what blackness means in a tendency which humanism can't grasp. I think Afrofuturism is central. And Alexander Vehelier, who is at the forefront of the theoretical conversation of thinking beyond humanism and seeing what that means for black cultural studies. Alex Vehelier is professor of African American Studies at Northwestern University, where he teaches black literature and black culture, critical theory more generally, social technologies, and popular culture. He's the author of Phonographies, Grooves in Sonic Afro-Modernity, and Habeas Fiscus, Racializing Assemblages, Biopolitics, and Black Feminist Theories of the Human. Currently, he's working on two projects. The first, Phenon, R&B's Technologies of Humanity, offers a critical history of the intimate relationships between R&B music and technology since the late 70s. The second, Black Life Schwarzsein, situates blackness as an ungendered ontology of unbelonging. And yes, Alex does speak German fluently, I believe. Greg Tate is a writer, musician, and culture provocateur who lives on Harlem's Sugar Hill and whose books include Flyboy and the Buttermilk, Essays on Contemporary America, and Everything But the Burden, what white people are taking from black culture. His most recent publication is Flyboy 2, the Greg Tate Reader, an amazing collection of writings of him. Tate has also led the conducted improv big band Burnt Sugar, the orchestra chamber, since 1999. Do check out that music, it's amazing. And is a proud member of the Howard University's Bison Nation. He has formerly taught at the universities of Yale, Columbia, and Brown, and also Williams College. His most recent visiting faculty appointments were at Princeton University, where he taught the loud, black, and proud musicology of Amiri Baraka, and New York University, where he debuted A Brief History of Woke Black Music. Please join me in welcoming both. First, Alex is going to talk, and then Greg is going to close the conference, but there is a surprise at the very end of the conference, so do stick around.